Okay, Laura, I am so excited to speak with you today and hear a little bit more of your story. So, at first, if you could just go ahead, introduce yourself, and I'd love to hear how did you get into the mortgage industry?
Absolutely. Well, pleasure to be here with you, Courtney. I am Laura Brandao, the president and partner of American Financial Resources in Parsippany, New Jersey. How did I
Awesome.
get into the mortgage industry? Yes, we all have that accidental, didn't plan on it
Accidental.
story. And my story is I was a young mom. And because I was a young mom, I wanted to do something in the evening so I could be at home with my little one. And at that time, I had two options. I was either working in a store or I was speaking on the phone. And because I do like to always speak to everyone, I picked the phone. The campaign that I was working on was Champion Mortgage. When your bank says no, Champion says yes. And I actually called people to see about refinancing them. And I just absolutely fell in love with the mortgage business. So when
Awesome.
my kids got a little older and it was time for me to move along from that position, I immediately went to work for a mortgage company. And that was kind of the start of moving along throughout. So, although it was accidental, I always say that I think the mortgage business found me because it's a special place in my heart of bringing families home. And I feel like all of us make a difference every single day.
Wow, that's awesome, Laura. When you first after you were done with Champion Mortgage, what was kind of the position that you went into next?
Well, interestingly enough, I went to work for a mortgage company in Livingston, New Jersey, and I was brought on board to start a sales, you know, department.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, I was so successful at building that sales department, my operations team couldn't keep up. So here I
That's
am.
a good problem to have.
Yes. So here I am, 26 years old. And I said, you know what? Teach me how to process, teach me how to underwrite loans. And so I got my training and I started doing that. And within a few months, I was chief operations officer of that company. So I quickly went from sales to operations, and fast forwarding to AFR, that was actually how I started. I was
That's
started as the
incredible.
director of operations.
Wow. I love that. I love hearing the initiative of like, okay, I'll jump in, teach me how to do this. I'll figure it out. And then a couple months later, you're COO. That's incredible. That's
Yep.
awesome. Well, I'd also love to hear, we just announced the resurgence of the MBA New Jersey Women's Committee that you have founded. I'd love to hear a little bit of background in terms of why this committee is so important to you, why you think now is the right time for us to be supporting and creating this network of women.
Absolutely. Well, Courtney, years ago, especially when I was at AFR, I would go to different conferences. And of course, I would go to the New Jersey MBA conference down in Atlantic City. And I can recall years ago going to that conference, and there were two types of women that were there. There were the women that worked the booths that weren't even mortgage women. They were models that were brought in to actually kind of entice and ask for people to come over to collect cards. And then there were the women that were doing an awful lot of work of preparing the booth and getting the marketing
Mhm.
together and really just sweating, doing all the work. And I remember going in there as an executive, kind of feeling out of place, kind of feeling that, man, I don't have any place here. I'm not one of the male executives, and I'm also not one of the models, and I'm also not one of the people doing all that work. And so I thought to myself, when an opportunity came about to be part of this women's committee, I said, you know what, we're going to make a change. And now is the time that we are going to share our voices. We're going to come together. We're going to learn and grow and develop. And we are going to make it so that every woman that walks into the conference, every woman that joins the New Jersey MBA, you're going to feel comfortable regardless of what position you're in, because we all have such value and we all together will be able to make a true difference within our tri-state area and the MBA, because each one of us has a different perspective. And that was very important, that when we did this women's committee, I didn't want it just for executives and I didn't want it just for managerial positions. This is for all the women to be part of this, because we all have so much to learn from each other, sharing insights and perspectives. And so this group is just so special to me, because I know that we are going to lift women up to levels that we have not seen before.
That's awesome. I love what you said about each of us bringing and having our own values and bringing our own perspectives. I think there is so much power when you get a group of women together, and just the ideas, the networking, the encouragement, the support that comes. It's truly something really special and unique. And so I think the more that we can continue to give women those opportunities, the better.
Absolutely. And so to everyone out there watching this right now, stay tuned and listen up, because we are going to be providing lots of opportunities, whether it's virtual events, whether it's our live event that will be later in the year in a safe environment. Any of the things that we are going to be offering, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's webinars, all of this education, please continue to follow us and continue to watch what we're doing, because we want you part of this.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Laura. I really enjoyed hearing from you and look forward to hearing more in the future too.
Thank you, Courtney.